Thank you for having me here. Let's see. Hey, happy days. Yeah, so Zero Carbon Merri-bek is my title, and we'll talk about both the fleet and our electric charging infrastructure. Where is Merri-bek? We're Brunswick, Coburg, north of CBD. We've been doing this for a very long time. So we installed Victoria's first fast EV charger all the way back in 2013. We purchased our first fleet, God bless, the Nissan Leafs back in 2013. Yeah, we have a long track record in this space. One of the things that's really underpinned that is a really strong policy background. So Zero Carbon Merri-bek Action Plan and our fleet policy really drives everything we do. And of course, that's driven by our community. Hey, right, so what have we achieved? In terms of our own fleet, we're currently, as I say, strong policy support. We've got 29, now 30 electric vehicles in our own fleet. Very conscious that I started the role 3 years ago. That was head and shoulders above most councils. The other councils are catching up very fast, which is great, but also, you want to be in the lead. We've got 12 chargers, 15 bays, so we go I think one of the other speakers said 1 to 4. We've had 1 to 3, we're now 1 to 2. Certainly 1 to 3 is fine. The big win that I've seen in the last couple of years is the fact that Victorian councils have purchased, look, passenger vehicles, fine, it's straightforward. What's interesting is that on the heavy, medium space, they've got tipper trucks. Yara really led on that space. Rear loader waste trucks. There's a council that's about to receive delivery of 4 rear loader waste trucks. That's great to see. Ride-on mowers, community buses, street sweepers, utes. Councils are very conservative, and we like to look at our neighboring council and say, well, they're doing it, so it must be okay. So every time somebody buys, makes that leap, it makes it so much easier for the councils around them. Considerations. Most of these things have been touched on already. Budget, yeah, 1.5 to 2 times the price. Find the right use case. So find the right tool in the right context. Somebody mentioned you will have good data. You will probably not have good data. You will rely on fuel card data, and people, when they enter their Odo readings, tend to enter 222. I don't know why, but they love entering 222. However, if you clean up the data, yes, you will get an understanding of how far your fleet vehicles travel and how much fuel they use. It requires cleaning up, and don't assume your fleet know this. It's ideal. So somebody mentioned also moving vehicles around. So yeah, so if you have somebody in your civic center who has access to all the keys, who's willing to move cars around between the charging stations, that's really helpful. Our parking enforcement team are amazing. They run entirely on electric, and somebody in that team has the job of moving vehicles around. Simple to use, no buttons. Stay away from buttons. That's my hot tip. Cables permanently tethered. Avoid the situation where you're asking people to pull out a cable from their trunk. Does that notify me as American? And plug it in. They get dusty, they get wet, they're kind of heavy. Have them permanently tethered. Vandalism has not been an issue for us, so strongly recommend that. Again, touched on earlier, hydrogen versus electric. As soon as you start discussing, tipper trucks or waste trucks, people will start saying, oh, we need to hang on. There might be hydrogen in 5 years down the road. To my mind, given our 2030 carbon targets, it's time to start purchasing the vehicles and start turning over your fleet. But be aware that's a discussion you'll probably have. Another one that I'm just going to flag here is waste collection contracts. Generally last 5 years. You can get extension of a couple of years on top of that. If you miss the boat now, and if waste contractors are part of your carbon footprint, your 2030 target is going to be very difficult to achieve. So get involved in those conversations early when you can. Right, so that's our own fleet, public charging. So we're unusual. We own and manage our own public chargers. We do that for historic reasons, because we've been doing this for a long time and we're kind of stuck on it. We manage 17. Don't worry about the numbers, they're really busy. Our fast chargers get maybe 17 sessions a day on each plug, which is at one stage the busiest charging hub on the ChargeFox network. That was April last year. And demand is growing. People tend to get really focused on, oh, where should our public chargers go? And is this the right location? And they hire in consultants. People will drive to your public charger. So, they will go there. Near shops, in a busy area, and multiple chargers, that'll be fine. Lessons learned from operating or managing those chargers. A public charger, or chargers in general, need a little bit of hand-holding. Not a huge amount, but it's not fit and forget. So of those 17 chargers, maybe once every 2 weeks, once every week, somebody, me, needs to go out and switch them back on or reboot them. So when you're installing chargers, make sure you know who's going to take responsibility for doing the annual maintenance checks, rebooting them when required, paying the data portal, etc. So we've had experiences in certain councils where that wasn't done, and it was not a happy story. So again, plan for these things, discuss them, and if at all possible, make sure you're not the person who has the keys to the switchboard who will be asked to reboot the chargers. Installing new chargers, DNSPs, again, touched on earlier. We recently put in an application for a new supply for a dual charger fast charger, a dual DC charger, 10 months. 10 months between the application and the works. That's what we've been promised. There could be delays. So yeah, if you're planning these things, put in your applications early. Chargers. Chargers are great. Chargers sit out in the weather. They get all sorts of random people using them. There's nobody around to, guard them, and they keep trucking. We have some Kibas and some Rolex that have been sitting outside our Civic Center for 5 years, and they're grand. So I've been quite impressed with the reliability. If you do need a replacement part, it takes a while. There are some exceptions, so just do some homework. There's one exception in particular I'm thinking of where I got burnt badly. So just talk to people about the brand that you're going to install. When you're looking at public locations, there are fewer locations than you would imagine. If you talk to Tesla or EV or any of these guys, there's a lot of work that goes into finding the correct locations. So what's the grid capacity? Is there space for a charger? Is it close to a transformer, et cetera, et cetera? So that takes a while. Chargers, don't expect this to be a massive money spinner. The cost of a DC charger, you're looking at $100K for a greenfield site. And you can get 15 charging sessions max per port per day, and that's at a really busy one. So yeah, your payback, you're not going to, some councils get quite excited and go, hey, this is going to be great, we're going to make millions. That's unlikely to happen. The community loved them. So we've had really positive feedback. We've had no vandalism. Our experience has been very positive. Lastly, a couple of things that are coming down the road that I see. Accessibility, not talked about too much to date. There is a federal standard that's been promised. I'm not sure where that's at. I'd give a plug for this report, Community Electric Vehicle Transition Plan, that was put out by the Northern Council Alliance, which talks a bit about how you could lay out your bays to make them accessible. leasing parking bays to charging operators. So that's a huge space, and I think another speaker will talk more about that. So that's really the direction of where things are going. Councils have the land, we have the parking bays, and we don't really want to operate chargers. Some templates would be lovely. If anybody's in a position to kind of create best practice and say, yeah, this is the recommended approach, that would be great. Pole-mounted chargers, for us, you know, we are Brunswick. We have lots of people who are interested in this space, who want to buy electric vehicles, who have budget to buy electric vehicles, but they do not have off-street car parking. So this pole-mounted chargers, there's lots of potential locations, and they're cheap to install because you don't need to do trenching. However, you do need to work closely with the DNSPs, and some DNSPs are thus far less than enthusiastic, but I'm sure they'll come around. That's it for me. Thank you very much.